wooden floor is kind of coming up because, again, I mean, there's no hiding those water stains coming down the wall. The floor is corroded, coming up, not a good scene. So essentially we went to the high school then, and of course the high school, beautiful facility that we do have there, especially the auditorium and different things, hometown pride, I understand that. Go down the stairs, finally saw some of the tunnels that I've been hearing so much about. I didn't go too far in them, I wasn't that brave. Dirt floor, leaks all over. I was glad everyone has, their flashlight in their back, well mine's in my back pocket right now to kind of go through some of theirs. But again, it's the same kind of story in all of these facilities, and the fact that, I hadn't seen equipment this old. It's like, it's leaking, I see you're putting Band-Aids on it, you're doing what you can do, but at the same time, how long is this going to last? How long are kids are going to be able to be in a facility like this without the boilers going out again and them not having heat? So I guess that's what I kind of saw, and I just want to bring that perspective of not only saw, but could hear, I could taste, and I could smell it. So thank you.
Thank you. So since I couldn't give you a tour or show you the video, I felt it was best to hear it from somebody who had an opportunity to do so. Safety is also another issue in our buildings. In the early 1900s, they didn't have to worry about school shootings. They didn't have to worry about lockdowns. And one of the buildings, which is now the elementary, is a split-level building. They do not build schools that way. And it's really hard to secure. The elevator is not compliant with the IDEA Act or ADA compliant, Americans with Disability Act. Just to repair that front entrance alone, if we just did that project to update and upgrade and the safety and create like a main entry there, would have been $750,000. So we've looked at different models of if we just tweak this, or if we just did that, or if we moved the kids to the Vaughn to the elementary. The problem with that is our early childhood kids need a main level entrance. So we would have to excavate a side of our building and create that, and that would open a can of worms. We looked at trying to connect the elementary to the high school to do like a skywalk, was $2.1 million. We've looked at all these different options, all these different angles of how can we do this? And after multiple meetings and community feedback, they landed on what they call 3A, and I believe that came around to you folks. If not, Rochelle, did they get 3A?
That's the diagram?
That's the picture of the front view.
Nobody on this side got it.
Oh, no one on that side got it.
Nobody on this side got it.
So essentially, 3A would put an early childhood through 6th grade school right on to the high school. The things that we heard in our feedback were main talking points: preserve Bob McDonald Gym and preserve the auditorium. So this would address that. Safety came up in every single conversation. This would create one safe, secure entrance for students. Right now, we don't have a cafeteria at our elementary that feeds our elementary and our high school. We have to bring the food that's prepped at the Vaughn over to the elementary. Our students at the high school have to walk across a public street in order to eat. Our building at the elementary is not secure, and we need to upgrade that safety. So those are some of the main talking points and the things that we've done to look at all the different options. 3A was a unanimous decision by the board. And the good news on that was we have to submit a review and comment to the Department of Ed. They gave us a positive review and comment, which meant that our project met our needs. That means that if we go out to a vote, they would need 50% of the votes plus one vote. If they gave us a negative review, we would have needed 60% plus one. Or if they said, throw your plan out, this is no good, they would say you either have to consolidate or you would have to close. If you consolidate, you have some control. If you close, the county tells you where your kids would go to school and they draw all new lines. Your taxes then would be paid to the district that they would basically tell you where those boundaries were. So we did look at what would happen if we consolidated with our neighbors. Mountain Iron School District, Mountain Iron Buell, they have no room. They have 2 sections of each. I toured their building. There's no room for us. If we consolidated with them, they would take on Chisholm's tax debt, and their taxes would go up, and off the top of my head, I want to say it was $16 a month, but I could be wrong. I can give you that figure if you need to know it. We looked at Hibbing. If we just consolidate with them, our taxes would go up $36 a month. They told us they have room at the high school, which is 7 through 12. At the elementary, they would need an addition. So on top of that dollar amount, you would need to pay for an addition. So when all's said and done, we looked at this project 3A, which is $32 million, and that equates out for a $100,000 property to what now is $23 a month. It was around 28, but when the county just recently redid their numbers, and that's what they came back with, because this area actually grew, and that was a good thing. And so it spread out your tax base a little more. So the positives were the positive review and comment that we got from the Department of Ed, and a slight decrease in the taxes. The other thing that this would do, parent pickup and bus pickup and drop off would also change. So right now kids have to cross the street, and there's cars and buses, and it's not a safe, secure area, and I'll let Danielle discuss.
So one thing when we were coming up with this plan that a lot of people don't know about me is my cousin was killed by the school bus in Hibbing. So safety is a huge thing when it comes to looking at this, because my cousin was in kindergarten. She would be the same age as me, and I have watched my aunt all these years cry at the anniversaries. So when it comes to the public road being right there, and you've got people driving through, I don't know how many times I've wanted to hop out of my car. I'm going to tell you that Mike Ferdine has been a great asset to our school, because he's actually getting out there, has the time, he's seen what's happening. The Bond had issues. I mean, I put together a huge plan, brought it to the school board, because of course, you know, I'm only one member. There's all of us that have to vote for it to be implemented, and this was prior to our current superintendent being there, that we had this huge parent pickup issue that I was going to foresee something bad happening to one of our kids at the Bond. And I couldn't live with that being on the school board and not saying something. So when it came to this plan, it was something that we need separate drop-off areas. We should not be having our kids walk across public roads to go to lunch. My daughter just started at the high school, and she has to cross that public road. Everybody thinks it's just part of the school, but that's not. That is 3rd Street. That's part of Highway 73 that comes through the school. And she has to, at lunchtime, and along with every 7th through 12th grade, she has to cross the road to go to the lunchroom, because in the high school, we don't have a lunchroom. So we've got that safety concern. And then at the Bond, we still have that concern where we've got buses going through. We at one time tried parent pickup there. You've got the 2 little spots. There's constant clutter, and who's watching? Who's paying attention? Because, I mean, as a parent, at the end of the day, I can tell you that, you know, I run my own business and I'm busy. I'm going, it's like you've got a one-stop mind, like, all right, I'm going to come pick up my kid, I'm going to go. Are you really paying attention to all those other kids and all those other families? You're not. You're there to do one thing, get your kid and get out. So we need to make it safe. So that's where, in the plan that you're looking at, we would have a separate bus drop-off, and then in the back side would be the parent drop-off. Again, it's one big building. The kids go in. They go to their designated spots once they're in the building. We don't have to worry about kids walking across any kind of roads. And then, again, like my little note here says, band lessons are in different buildings for I believe it's 5th grade they start band. So 5th and 6th grade that are at the elementary building, they have to cross over and go to the high school for their band lesson. Any kind of counseling services, it's back and forth. So it's really not. And one of the other big things that we kept hearing as a board that I'm going to just add in here to go with the whole safety thing is our teachers kept expressing to us that they feel The Vaughn teachers feel separated from the rest of the district because they're kind of tucked away. And honestly, they're tucked away on Vulcan property because that's Vulcan land that the Vaughn is sitting on. So they're tucked away, they're not even one, they're not part of it. So a lot of things they feel kind of left out. So our teachers really wanted one campus, one place for everybody to be and everybody to be safe.
Thank you. Since he was mentioned, Mike Ferdine is Buildings and Grounds Supervisor, and he's here tonight, so if you have any additional questions about facilities or any of that, Mike's here to help answer any of those questions. So, the ask is a big ask. It's a perfect storm. We get it. Look around at your neighbors. They all have brand new facilities. They utilize something called the IRRB, so now that there's no B on it, School Collaborative Fund. That collaborative fund, once Nashwauk voted, is depleted until 2040. There's no money there. So when tasked with this pretty big feat, I knocked on doors. I begged the county for money. I went to the state legislature. We've got 2 bills that made it to the final tax bill. One is for the equivalent of about $890,000, and that would mean as the entire building project, we would not pay any tax on anything. And I know you think, well, school districts don't pay tax. Well, they hire vendors to do a lot of work. Vendors pay tax on things and pass it off to school districts. And so this would have circumvented that so that wouldn't happen. That bill was sitting there in the final tax bill that never got voted on. The other was the 5 cent a ton tax that was on iron ore tax in the area was about to sunset, and that money was going to go to the county. That was where the money filled that IRRR collaborative fund. So we asked, renew it for 10 years, and that equates out to somewhere around $7.5 million. That also made it to the final tax bill. I can tell you I presented down at the Capitol. I can tell you I emailed, called, had numerous meetings, didn't take no for an answer. I kept telling the county, 1.5 million, 1.5 million. They kept countering me with 200,000. I said, no, we need 1.5 million. We did get 750,000. So thank you to the county for contributing that. That came out of their COVID relief funds, and that is for air quality and water quality. So those are the things that we chased. And I wanted Bob to just talk briefly about the collaboration versus consolidation. You can stay right there if you want.
So a lot of people don't understand the difference. See, we collaborate with other districts. We collaborate with Hibbing for business services. That has been a godsend. I'm just saying that without them, we would have been dead in the water. We lost our superintendent, her secretary, our business manager, and the business manager's financial assistant within the space of 2 months.
And that's when they said, welcome to Chisholm.
So we had to go out and search for the superintendent, and we had multiple candidates, and Adrian was the winner. And from my personal perspective, thank God. So collaboration means you put things together, like for instance in athletics. You collaborate, say in hockey. We have a hockey collaboration with Hibbing, boys and girls. We now are going to have a golf collaboration because we have students that are interested in playing golf. We don't have a program. Hibbing does. We can do that. Consolidation is a whole different game. Consolidation, if it's not that you snap your fingers and it's done. It is not. It takes about 5 years to put it together. So when you think about that, and as Adrian pointed out, we looked at Hibbing, we looked at Mountain Iron and all of this other stuff. The other point about consolidation is you take on the debt of the host district, plus your own debt. So Hibbing doesn't have space. Adrian points out, they're going to have to build a new building. Who's going to pay for that? Whose ever kids go to that district? You want Chisholm kids to go to that district, or you want them to stay here? I would prefer that they stay here. So consolidate.